Welcome to St. Joseph, Missouri in Phil Welch Stadium. We have a cloudy, overcast day today, but we're still going to get some baseball in. We've had some rain, a little bit of drizzle throughout the day, but nothing. The grounds crew hasn't been able to keep off the field. Tyler, today we're going to see the St. Joe Mustangs take on the Clarinda Athletics. Clarinda Athletics. What can we see or what can we expect tonight from this matchup?
Well, first, the Mustangs obviously been hot. Last time you were here with us, we won our third game in a row, and the Mustangs on their road trip went 2-0. There was an absolute thriller in Carroll. It was an 11-inning game with a two-run game-tying home run by Dom Felix, the catcher. And then yesterday's game against the Chillicothe Mudcats, we won 11-0. So a very good road trip for the Mustangs, and now coming back to Phil Welch with a packed crowd who we heard from multiple sources that the crowds at other stadiums are nowhere near what we get here at Phil Welch. So we have the hometown environment. That should be very exciting. And we have a pitcher making their Mustangs debut today as well. So
Yeah,
want to talk about that a little bit?
So yeah, of course. So tonight we have Landon Reith bumping for the Mustangs. This is going to be, he's a junior academically. He's a sophomore athletically. He just finished his sophomore year at Pitt State, which is a Division II college in the state of Kansas. He's out of DeSoto High School. In high school, he posted a 1.71 ERA with 58 strikeouts and 42 innings pitched. He appeared in 15 games last year for Pitt State. So, definitely an experienced pitcher, a lot of innings under his belt. Tyler, you are a pitcher, so a little bit late into the year to make your Mustangs debut. Does that change anything, the fact that he's still yet to pitch and this is going to be the sixth game of the year?
I think it's tough because we don't know everyone's story here in summer ball. Some guys are sick. Some guys came from playing baseball. I wouldn't worry too much about that. It's another thing if it's your college season, but in summer ball, it's whoever's available. Some of these guys got jobs out here, so I wouldn't have any added pressure if I were Landon. All I know is I'm making my debut in front of thousands of fans, and I'm going to have a great, great time. Landon is 6 foot, and it says here on the roster 170 pounds. Having that height from a lefty, and we saw in the bullpen a little bit, he's got some funky mechanics. He's going to be very deceptive, and he's going to do a great job of keeping the A's hitters off balance.
Yeah, and pitching for the Athletics is going to be Steve Spurgeon Jr., 6'1", 200 pounds, out of Jackson State. He went to Northeastern Community College beforehand, where there he had a 4.61 ERA in 2022 before then transferring again to Jackson State. So we don't know a ton about him, but a guy like Spurgeon, you are a JUCO player yourself. He did, make the transfer to the Division I school. Does that say anything about, he didn't have good success in junior college, but Jackson State's a great school. And so what can we I know early on, you have anything we might see from Spurgeon or anything you could tell us about a player who's gone from JUCO to, 4 years university?
The biggest thing in JUCO is they get guys with talent and let them perform. A lot of these guys in JUCO you could describe as raw. Like, they have the stuff. I saw in JUCO guys throwing anywhere from 88 to 95 on a daily basis. But when you come to a 4-year, and especially a higher level 4-year, they get a lot more polish. They sort of understand what they can do with the tools they have. In JUCO, I believe they help you craft those tools. They help you gain velocity, gain movement, and you come to a 4-year university and they start polishing that. Maybe work a little bit more on how your ball moves, work on where you should attack in the zone. So he might be much more of a raw kind of pitcher, or he maybe was a raw kind of pitcher, but now he's spent a year at Jackson State. He's going to be a lot more polished. He's going to know what his ball does, what he wants to throw, and really have a plan for these hitters. So I think he's going to be a very, very good pitcher from the left side.
That's, it's great to hear. It sounds like we're going to see a good matchup tonight from the Clarinda A's and the St. Joe Mustangs. We're going to take a quick break for the national anthem, and we will return with the lineups for both of these two teams. Welcome back to St. Joseph, Missouri. I hope you enjoyed the national anthem. But before the game starts, we're going to quickly go over the batting lineup for the Athletics. Leading off, Kai Holiday, followed by Quinn Maher. Hitting third, Sean Bazemore. In the four-hole, Drake Cobb. Fifth, Connor McNatt. Sixth, Tyler Macon. Seventh, Mike Polubinski. Eighth, Lath Holiday. And bringing it up in the nine-hole, Caden Lindsay. So, Tyler, any of those names give you make you excited, or who should we watch out for tonight?
I definitely got two guys. First guy I'm going to talk about is Kai Holiday, the leadoff man. He's 5'9" and 160. Wouldn't say he's overpowering in terms of the eye test, but he batted 368 and had an OPS of over 1,000 at his college, Lenore Ryan University. And those are very impressive numbers at a high-level college program. So you have a guy like that coming off of a season like that. I think he's going to carry over his good season into his summer ball career. On the flip side, Tyler Macon, he did not play last year, but he's a freshman at the University of Missouri and was originally committed to Memphis. You have a guy who's been waiting all year, playing under a lot of these guys, seeing the games. He's probably so ready for this season. You get to watch under a bunch of players ahead of you. So I think he's ready to have a big impact for the A's.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would agree with that statement. Sitting behind and watching, players ahead of you play an entire season can be, it can be very mentally tough. So the fact he's finally able to get out here and get some playing time, it'll be interesting to see what he does with his summer ball.
Should be a good game today, too. I think good pitching matchup as well.
So the first pitch from Reith is just outside for the first ball of the game.
And Landon Reith, he's a tall lefty with a very high arm slot, but also gets a ton of arm side run on his fastball. Righties are going to have a tough time.
That play is going to be made and dug out of the ground over there by Jeter Mose at first base. That play being made by shortstop Mason Holton, who's making his first start for the Mustangs today. So Schrack, who's been the everyday shortstop, sliding over to third base. Fun fact about those two is they're both straight from Coffeyville.
And Mason Holton, we haven't seen him yet, but definitely no slouch. He had an OPS of 992 at Coffeyville and is headed to West Carolina University. And strike that. Last year, West Carolina University, he finished with a 300 average, a 436 on base, and a 488 slugging percentage, which are very, very good numbers. So Mason Holton, going to be a force at the middle of the lineup. He's hitting fifth today. Going back to Landon, tall lefty, comes from a very high arm slot, but his ball runs in a ton to lefties and runs away from righties. So a lot of lefties going to be stuck on the hands in this lefty-lefty matchup, and a lot of righties can get a lot of balls that start middle and end away.
It's a 3-0 count early on in this one right now.
And if you even look at the broadcast, you can see how much sink, how much run his ball has.
Reith found the zone for that one, making it 3-1. The 3-1 pitch inside, and that got Maher, so he's going to take his free base.
Yeah, the first pitch we saw from Landon Reith in warm-ups was a pitch that went about 58 feet. He was looking at the mound after his delivery, so maybe there's some issue with the mud. Sometimes playing out there in a wetter environment, sliding a little bit, it can be tough to get used to at the start of a game.
So now stepping in, Sean Bazemore, who is hitting 500 early on in the Mink League so far this year. That first pitch missed. Reith struggling a little early on here through his first couple batters to find the zone, as that one was up but was saved by Hepburn behind the plate.
No, good play by Hepburn, but yeah, he's got to find some sort of pitch that works for him right now. It looked like he went to some sort of curveball, and it was nowhere near the plate. It's hard when you feel like nothing's working as he attempts to pick up. Good move right there. Very good move. Maybe that'll help him to kind of give him some time to reset. But he just needs to find a pitch. And if he throws a pitch, whether it's a fastball, breaking ball for a strike here, he's going to get a lot of confidence to be able to build on that.
Goes back over, and he's, close to balking, I would say, with these pickoff moves. I don't know what you're seeing from your point of view, but when you pick off, you obviously can't cross legs if you end up throwing to first, and he's getting close, but that's also what makes a good pickoff move.
Well, yeah, you can't cross legs, but if you look at where the home plate and the second base umpire are, there are no first and third base umpires. It's hard for them to see that. That's why lefties, we have a balk move where we completely balk. The runner gets pissed off, the coach gets pissed off, but the umpires can't see it. So it's definitely a good tool for a lefty to have.
So again, it's Reith 3-0 and finding the zone, making it 3-1. So it's back-to-back hitters. He's fallen behind 3-0 to. This time he's going to even it up, making it a full count, 3-2.
And he just located a pitch on the inside, on the outside. If he's able to get Bazemore out here, it's going to be a big turning point in this start.
That pitch looked like a changeup from up here. Dove away from Bazemore behind at the plate. Way outside, so not even a competitive pitch shot. Can you tell us maybe about the importance of just, even if you're going to miss competitively?
For sure, because now, and granted, he just walked, but if you're not missing anywhere near the zone, there's no pitch tunneling. Pitch tunneling, what that is if you take a fastball like up in the zone, for example, and you throw a curveball down in the zone, they look the same out of the hand and at least halfway through, so it's harder for the batter to detect which one. But the minute you throw a pitch so far outside, the batter's
that one's grounded up the middle. This could be a double play. Holton to Schmidt. Schmidt to Mose at first base. A huge 6-4-3 double play. So early on, Landon Reed struggled a little bit, but that's all erased in just one pitch. When we return, we'll see the St. Joe Mustangs line up. Welcome back to Phil Welch Stadium, where in the bottom of the first inning, we're about to take a look at the St. Joe Mustangs starting 9 on this lovely Tuesday afternoon. So leading off, Noah Bodenhausen, 2-hole Darius Freeman, in the 3-spot Carson Schrack, followed behind Jeter Mose, then Mason Holton in the 5-hole, Kyle Hepburn hitting 6th, Trevor McCullum hitting 7th, Jackson Glick, who's had some huge at-bats already early on this year, is in the 8th spot, and Carson Schmidt in the 9-hole. 2 new faces for the Mustangs fans tonight in this one. Can you tell us maybe a little bit about Mason Holton and Kyle Hepburn?
So Kyle Hepburn is actually the only guy who is not American on the Mustangs roster. He was born in Canada, and he batted .308 with a homer at Johns County Community College, albeit didn't have the biggest sample size. But he was able to hang in a very good conference in
That's a
JUCO
great
baseball.
junior college.
On the other hand, Mason Holton, he was a 2-sport athlete. And I think we'll talk more about this when Tyler Macon comes up for the A's, but there's a couple 2-sport athletes here. And that shows me that these guys have just tremendous athleticism. Guys typically tend to play skill positions, whether it's short, second, center field. And if you 2-sport athlete, typically it would be a wide receiver or quarterback as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be a lot of quickness, a lot of quick first steps, good jumps, as well as probably some speed out there.
Yeah. 2 great athletes, great players. It's interesting because that one's hit very high out into left field. It's going to be Holiday coming in to make the play in foul territory. So a quick first out for the Mustangs in the top of the first inning.
Good job by Holiday to call everyone off. We always practice this in JUCO on balls hit up in the air, and reality is the highest level. We even saw one a couple days ago, but routine fly balls like that, if you're not communicating, you're not making the play. So we called them off pretty early. There was no real interference between the shortstop and third baseman, so good job by Holiday, and he helped his pitcher out who's behind in the count.
Yeah, Lath Holiday out there in left field went to Northeast Mississippi Community College, so I'm sure he's learning similar stuff to what goes on out in California across the country.
Yeah, and this Clarinda Ace team has a ton of California guys, believe it or not. A couple guys from Grossmont and Palomar Community College, both really good JUCOs down in San Diego area. So definitely be on the lookout for some of those guys.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I've been a little, impressed with just the geography and where everyone is, where everyone's from. How, wide this the range is for where these players play at.
And that's really more of a personal thing for a lot of these guys. Some guys want to change the scenery. I think it was for the Mustangs. As that ball skied out to center field.
Yeah, it's going to be no problem for the other Holiday out there in the outfield. So Lath Holiday in left field and Kai Holiday in center field for the Ace tonight. A lot of Holidays out there.
There are. You have a good shot at the ball's hit up in the air in the outfield. It's going to a Holiday. But yeah, so like I was saying, people come out for various different reasons. I think the Mustangs have a completely different pull.
This one's going to be hit up the middle, but it shouldn't be a problem. But it is going to get by the first baseman out there, Drake Cobb. That's going to be a throwing error on Tyler Macon. He came in smooth with it. I thought he was going to, toss it over to Cobb for an easy third out of the inning, but the throw just bounced.
And it was a tough play. With the guy running hard down the line, Cobb had to try to pick that ball on the stretch. It's probably a much easier play if he lets that take a long hop and he catches that, but he would have been safe if that was the case. So just a tough play, get in between, and the shortstop's going to be charged with it.
So Schrack reaches on the air, and now that's going to be a base hit for Jeter Mose as he lines one out to center field. Schrack able to get back to second.
Now just good piece of hitting. First pitch, first swing. We saw Jeter do that multiple times so far this season. And really, if you have a guy who's trying to get ahead of you, first pitch of the at-bat may be the best one you see. Sturgeon, not an overpowering guy, probably sitting only in the 85, 87 range, which is not bad for a lefty. But compared to some of the guys the Mustangs have been seeing, that's a couple ticks slower.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what this Mustangs lineup can do because, so far we've seen the Mustangs be able to really swing the bats so far in the Mink League.
Yeah, multiple games where they put up double-digit numbers, and that spells well. Also, it helps the pitching staff. They could be why the pitching staff pitches so well is they're not so worried. Like, you go down a couple runs early on, but you trust your offense to get you back out there. Pitchers aren't pitching scared, trying not to pitch too fine. It'll be huge for Landon Reith on the mound is if the Mustangs can cash in here. He can pitch now with a little bit more relaxation. He looked a little stressed in the first inning. Big crowd coming in, first start. But this allowing him to relax, trust his stuff because he has good stuff, and he should be able to stay in this ballgame for a pretty long time.
Yeah, 2-0's the count to the shortstop, Mason Holton. Holton, we just saw turn a double play to save Landon Reith in the top half of the inning. Now he's trying to get on the Mustangs on the board, and he just might do that. And Schrack's going to test out Holiday's arm, and Holiday way overthrows his catcher, Drake Lindsay. So that's going to be a early 2-out single to score Carson Schrack. And the Mustangs take a 1-0 lead early on in this one.
And pitcher clearly frustrated. Has he given up back-to-back hits? Yes, but he should have been out of that inning earlier. In terms of the throw, as outfielders, the reason why we always try to throw one-hops is because if we throw high, that ball's directly at the person you're trying to throw to. It looked like that time he was trying to throw directly at the catcher, be the hero, and that ball went way over his head.
Yeah, an outfielder, your eyes always light up when you have an opportunity to absolutely gun someone down, and he had an opportunity to send Schrack back to the dugout and end the inning, but throw a complete airmail to Lindsay behind the plate. And now it's Kyle Hepburn, the catcher for the Mustangs, up with a chance to give them or to extend the lead. That one's inside, making it 1-1.
Nice to give Dom Felix a day off. That guy caught every single inning for the first 5 games.
Yeah,
He did have that big home run a couple days ago.
Yeah, Dom Felix 2 games ago where the Mustangs were down 1-0 versus Chillicothe. As that one's going to be hit foul, it appears, and out of play. But it did have the distance to leave Phil Welch. So Kyle Hepburn showed a little bit of pop early on.
It's funny. He definitely cut that off the hands, too. He did not get all that. It didn't sound perfect off the bat. And he still gave that a ride around 325 feet. Be ready for that. Be ready. A lot of these guys are catching the ball out front on a pitcher who doesn't have as much velocity out there. So might be a lot of power pull side here today for the Mustangs.
Yeah, Felix, the other catcher, was mentioning hit a home run in one of his most recent at-bats to save the Mustangs' undefeated streak so far. And now Hepburn showing he's also very capable of doing the same.
Yeah, and he's probably been waiting for his opportunity the entire season. And now that it's here, he doesn't let the moment get too big. You got a couple guys on. Still stay within yourself. Put a good swing on it.
2-2 pitch is going to be grounded up the middle. We're going to see if Macon can field this one. And he can't, as the throw was high. So that's 2 errors on Tyler Macon.
So that's what you call the announcer drinks right there. I give Macon a little bit of praise. And granted, we didn't talk about his fielding, but said he was a player to watch. And, well, he has impacted this game tremendously. I can tell you that right now.
So 2 errors in the first inning. Never a good feeling for any team, especially when it's on the same player.
Funny, from here, I thought he actually got the tag down at first base, Cobb, but he didn't really have a reaction when the guy was called safe.
It was a bang-bang play. The call goes in favor of the Mustangs. So now it's 2-0 Mustangs, runners on first and third with 2 outs here in the bottom of the first inning. The 0-1 is going to get scored away from Lindsay, and that's going to be another run with 2 outs in the first inning. So a lot of mistakes early on for the A's in this one.
And it's just compounding mistakes. You get an error early on when you would have been out of the inning. All of a sudden, you airmail throw from the outfield. Another error and a wild pitch. As the pitcher, you got to really calm yourself down. Yes, it's 3-0 in the scorebook, but you still got to pitch a game, and maybe you could salvage a start, go 5 innings, earn yourself a quality start. But you can't let other people's errors affect your pitching on the mound. You still got to go out there, attack the zone, and trust your stuff.
So now the Mustangs with runners on just second base. Let's see what Spurgeon can do to try and limit what damage has already been done. I mean, this inning started, Tyler, with a fly out to center field, or excuse me, a fly out to left field, and then a fly out to center field. It looked like Spurgeon was going to run through this inning at about 6 or 7 pitches, and now we're sitting here 3-0, and he still has yet to record an out.
Yeah, and he's not getting much help from his teammates as he's going to strike out there at the end of the inning. But he seemed like he's pitching okay. A couple barrels from Mose and Holton. But, I mean, he did his job out there on the mound, and there's 3 runs in the scorebook. He's going to be charged with none of them.
So we're going to leave it right there. We're going to come back in the top of the second inning with the Mustangs leading 3-0. welcome back to Phil Welch Stadium, where early on the Mustangs lead it 3-0. Heading now for the Athletics is Connor McNatch, the DH.
This is a big inning here for Landon Reith. Should have gotten the jitters out a bit. Your team just gave you a 3-0 lead. Now that he's down in the count too. Now you can't do that. You cannot do that as your pitcher. Once you have that lead, you got to go right after guys. He's got good stuff. I wouldn't be afraid to throw it at the A's lineup right now. But you have a 3-0 cushion. Their pitcher looks flustered. Your hitters are hitting well. There's no need to not attack the strike zone right now.
It looks like there's a little bit of some sort of distraction going on in right field. Looks like Darius Freeman went ahead and took care of it for us. So play will resume. Still a 2-0 count for Reith. McNatt takes inside for ball 3. So Reith still showcasing some control issues early on. He was able to get out of the first inning with no damage thanks to a double play. And this is going to be another leadoff walk for Reith. So we've seen 3 free passes given already in this one. Tyler, what's that say for Reith?
I'm a big proponent of walks and control being a mindset issue. Either guys are too afraid to come in the zone or guys are not trusting their stuff. And right now it seems like Reith, every time he pitches, he's like, I hope I don't throw a ball. That's the mentality you can't have as a pitcher. You have to go right after these guys.
That's Tyler Macon pulling back on the bunt.
That's 5 straight now, and Reith is really lucky that he turned that double play, or else that first inning could have spiraled out of control, especially with where he's at now. But the big thing for him now is he's just got to widen his zone a bit. Maybe not sure he'd be too fine. I wouldn't even aim inside-outside right now. I try to blow up the catcher Hepburn's chest. He does have a very good pickoff move, though.
Yeah, he likes to throw over to first base. Reith still needs to just keep the mindset of he's still just one pitch from, get another double play right here. And all of a sudden, base clear, 2 outs, and he's in control again. But that's 7 straight balls to start the inning for Landon Reith.
Now he's got to find it now. Now, in the case, I'd have your pitching coach to talk to Reith, calm him down a bit. So there's a good pitch from him. But he's just not trusting there. You can kind of see it in his body language, too. We'll see what happens on this pitch. But he keeps looking down, trying to blame it on something else. But
that's going
right
to be
there.
Ball 4. So 9 pitches, 8 balls to start the second inning. And Tyler Macon, the two-sport athlete who's committed to Mizzou, trots down to first base.
And the pitching coach now, just go talk to your guy. I wouldn't be mad. I would just say, hey, take the pressure off. Like, we're out here in St. Joseph. We're playing summer ball. It's a good time. Don't stress too much about the game itself and just go out and play your game. Play your game. You're a good pitcher. You have good stuff. And just let it eat.
Yeah, Reith or anyone pitching for the St. Joe Mustangs, I mean, this is a very talented roster. We've looked at it up and down, tens of hundreds of times already so far in this one. And every one of these players is committed to high-end colleges. They're all very capable of doing their job at a very high level. So we know Reith is very capable of finding the zone and getting out of this right here. It's just a matter of him, believing in himself and doing it right here.
And he also didn't pitch too much for Pitt State last year. So that may also have an effect. He's got to get back and acclimated on the mound.
How many starts he's had on the year or in the last 2 years in game. So it looks like the mound visit from the pitching coach pays off as that's strike 1.
But, yeah, going back to that, I think there's one of 2 things you have when you haven't thrown in a while. There's a beautiful curveball right there.
Missed just up.
But when you go out there for the first time in a long time, there's 2 things that could happen. It's either, oh, boy, I'm not ready for this, or you go out there and you're actually super calm because you haven't thrown. You have no expectation. That's also why a lot of position players can come in and just throw strikes.
So this one could do it again. That's going to be a beautiful glove flip from Schmidt, and that's another double play from Reith.
That was a fantastic play up the middle. Carson Schmidt with a quick glove flip, And a heck of a turn by Mason Holton. That had to be a perfect turn to get the runner at first base, and it pretty much was. The fact that he was able to turn a quick 360 at shortstop, get to the bag and flip around and throw, while having the transition from the second baseman Schmidt that quickly, that was a high level play.
Yeah, a beautiful play from the second baseman who's just out of high school. Finished his 4-year high school career at Benton High School this year, making a state run along with head coach Johnny Coy. That's Carson Schmidt at second base. This infield, we can assume has never played any game together, but they looked really calm, really collected on that double play turn, Tyler.
Yes, and while everyone has different programs, a lot of the same fundamentals are there. So guys know where to be on the infield. Guys know where to be in the outfield. If you do your job at college, coming into summer ball should not have much of an effect. The biggest difference is the catcher-pitcher matchup, because now you have a guy, like, you're just playing the field when you're in the field. You have to just know where you have to be. That's very similar, but calling pitches for different guys is completely different, and that's where the chemistry really helps.
Reith missing way outside. Another save from Hepburn behind the dish. So Reith right now trying to find a way to grant 4 free batters to his first 7 hitters yet, or 4 free bases to his first 7 hitters yet get away with no runs, as the full count pitch is outside and chased by Lath Holiday. So Landon Reith finding ways to get it done. Maybe not the best way, but it's his way. The Mustangs lead it 3-0 going into the bottom of the second inning. Welcome back to Phil Welch Stadium, where the Mustangs have somehow found a way to lead 3-0 after just 2 innings, or an inning and a half of baseball. It's been, the reason I say like that is this game, if you would looked at just the score sheet we have in front of us, Tyler, I would say that the Athletics could probably be winning the game with the amount of walks and the quick start to the first inning we saw from Spurgeon. But no, it's the Mustangs who have found a way to come out to a 3-0 early lead.
You have a guy who's not really finding the zone, but getting outs when he needs to, and another guy who's finding the zone. Defense isn't helping him out, but he's been a lot more efficient. You're going to have a guy who's given up 3, but probably is going to throw much less pitches in terms of efficiency.
The 2-1 pitch is going to be swung on and hit out to Holiday in center field, who didn't take a single step. Perfectly placed is Kai Holiday out there in center field. And that's Jackson Glick who flied out to center field.
So Sturgeon right there really attacked with his breaking ball. And a lot of lefties don't like to throw their breaking ball into a righty's hands. Statistically, it's not quite as effective. But right now he's feeling it, getting ahead. I think using his secondary pitches early is going to now keep the batters off balance, have them not salivate at the plate, sitting for a fastball, because when you only throw low, mid-80s, you're not going to get it by guys at this level.
That pitch is fouled back. Tyler, you're also a pitcher You know, when you do pitch, you're more of a, low to mid 80s kind of guy. So how important would you say is that first pitch breaking ball to you when you're pitching out there in the mound, or when you have pitched in the bigger moments?
I don't have a statistic to really.
This one's going to be grounded out to shortstop and made the play in time is Bazemore at short. So that's the second out of the bottom of the second inning for the Mustangs.
Before I was rudely interrupted, when you pitch and you don't have that much velocity, there is nothing more that'll help me than getting a first pitch breaking ball over for the plate. Statistically, I couldn't tell you what a person's batting average is when I'm 1-0 versus 0-1. But if it's a breaking ball, all of a sudden I can go anywhere now. If I go back to the breaking ball that I'm not expecting it, go back to the fastball that I'm not expecting it, it really makes the hitter uncomfortable. And all of a sudden opens up completely different sequences for me to go. When I'm 1-0 count and the guy saw a breaking ball, I feel like it's hard for me to throw another one in the zone. But if I go to the fastball, they're sitting on it. So in the mindset for the hitter, a first pitch off speed completely destroys them.
Well said. Now for the Mustangs is Carson Schmidt. Schmidt in his last game up in Chillicothe went 3 for 4 and stole 3 bases. So Schmidt, we saw here on last Saturday, he played a great game, and now again this road trip he played well. So a great start for Schmidt early on in this one.
Schmidt was the one who grounded out just now.
Excuse me.
We're back to the top of the line with Noah Bodenhausen. But doesn't take away from the fact that Schmidt did go through
Schmidt's
4.
still playing great.
And the other guy who had 3 stolen bases that game was Noah's brother, Truman Bodenhausen.
Yeah, I was just kind of tying it in a creative way, Todd.
There you go. I'm really good. For me, we have such good chemistry that I was able to understand that you were doing that.
So the full count to Bodenhausen is swung on and blooped out into center field. Again, reeled in by Holiday. So Holiday making 2 of the 3 plays. A much quicker inning for Spurgeon in the bottom half of the second. When we return, the Mustangs will still lead it 3-0. Welcome back to the friendly confines of Phil Welch Stadium. It's the top of the half of the third inning. Mustangs lead it 3-0. Still on the mound for the Mustangs is Landon Reith, who's found his ways to work out of these 2 innings early on without giving up a run, despite walking 4 batters and hitting one.
Yeah, and as Reith, when you go back to the dugout, and it looks like a different pitcher right now, but you go back to the dugout after the outing you just had, where you feel like you haven't really done much right, but it's worked out. That's where you laugh about it, and then you decide to lock in. I think there's a big inning for Reith because he gets another shutdown inning, get his confidence up a bit. There's a 3-pitch strikeout right there. But if he's able to get his confidence back, he can now work 5-6 innings in this game. If he doesn't, all of a sudden starts missing more, missing by a lot, Clarinda's going to claw their way back into this game.
The way I like to look at this as that's a taco strikeout, if I'm not mistaken, or last inning, or excuse me, last inning ended on the taco strikeout from Lath Holiday. And so now we're getting taco coupons thrown out into the stands. First time we've seen that. We saw the strikeout, but I didn't see the coupons being handed out
Got
on
a nice
Saturday.
close-up of Kai Turner right there, Mustangs owner. But yeah, no, I didn't see coupons, but I guess if this section won it right here in front of us, then one of the corner sections won it last time. We didn't see that.
So now it's Kai Holiday back up to hit for the Athletics. In his first at-bat, he grounded out to shortstop. That one's fouled hard off the roof of Phil Welch.
I believe that hit, we have netting right here in front, as you can see on the screen, and then we have our roof, and there's like maybe a 6-inch thickness on the roof right there, and he smashed it.
This one's going to be grounded into play. Another ground ball to shortstop. Holt's going to have to be quick, and he's quick enough. As that is the second out of the inning.
It's impressive. These shortstops, you've seen it on both sides now, they have some crazy internal clock where they can make a play look so nonchalant and get the guy out by half a step and not even be worried. I mean, he took his time, quick shuffle, didn't fire a laser over there, but still got the guy on a bang-bang play.
And they make every play bang-bang, isn't that? They make it tough on the umpires.
Really, if a guy runs out a play on the left side of the infield, I think you'll always be there within a step or two with how long shortstop take on routine plays, and then on much slower choppers, you try to beat that out.
Especially a play like we just saw where Holton had a range all the way to the left side of the infield, and Kai Holiday, you got me saying Kai Turner now, Kai Holiday, a quicker runner playing center field. You know, it's always going to be a close play like that.
Man, we should get Kai Turner in the Mustangs uniform, see what our owner can do. I'm sure he can get himself at bat, no?
I would love to see it.
I'd love to see an intern at bat. Maybe me or Charlie go down there one time. I said I was going to get one inning on the mound this year, which would just be awesome. I can live commentate that. just some food for thought.
The 1-2 pitch is bounced and got the foot. Just kidding. Gwen Maher saying it got his foot. Home plate umpire disagrees, saying, get back in the box. So it's going to be a 2-2. Has that ever happened to you, Tyler, or maybe it did hit you, or you thought it hit you, or you wanted it to hit you?
I remember one time I fouled the ball off my foot, but I decided to run it out anyway, and I was called out. And then I go back trying to plead my case. But if anything, it's all about the step. I mean, pitch framing is exactly lying to the umpire. Same thing with getting a ball you're going to get hit.
As that one sends Maher back to the dugout. That's the correct way he should have been walking the whole time. So that's going to wrap up the top half of the third innings. Mustangs still lead it 3-0. Welcome back to Phil Welch Stadium. Leading things off for the Mustangs in the bottom of the third inning is Darius Freeman. Freeman, the speedster, grounds one to first base. No amount of speed's going to beat that one out. That's a quick one pitch, one out for Spurgeon.
Darius Freeman, him getting on base just changes the complete complexity of the inning. He's leading off right there, and now you have a guy out at first, really stress-free play. He gets a hit right there. All of a sudden, one, you feel like he's going to be on third base, and two, he will be on third base. So as a pitch, you start to get a little wild, try to quicken up your delivery, and as well as now you don't have to worry about a runner, especially one of his caliber.
Yeah, we've mentioned the amount of stolen bases Freeman's had in the past. I mean, just the guy is not afraid. We've seen him get on and steal one pitch, steal second, another pitch, steal third. And especially when you have a lineup like this where you can put Carson Schrack, the Coffeyville prodigy who's committed to Arkansas, right behind him. I mean, it's a really dangerous lineup the Mustangs have so far.
No, just very good table setters. Noah Bodenhausen's got some speed of his own, gets on a lot. And then you have Freeman right there. I mean, that's a double steal threat if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, well, we saw earlier in the year where I think it was Truman, Bodenhausen, and Freeman try and steal the double steal, but I think Bodenhausen got thrown out at third base in that one. That was one of the only times we've seen a runner get thrown out so far this year.
And as a pitcher, I'm a lefty, so it's a little easier for me. I'm able to control the running game because I can see it right in front of me. But as a righty,
Schrack shoots one down the line, but it's going to be foul.
As
Full
a righty,
count.
it's like you're helpless because it doesn't really matter how fast you are to the plate. If a guy times you up by any means, and Freeman does a very good job of that, there's really nothing you can do.
So Spurgeon continues to work efficiently. As I say that, he decides to issue his first free pass of the ball game. And that's going to be Carson Schrack trotting up to first base for Spurgeon's first walk tonight.
Yeah, Charlie, that walk was 100% your fault. 100%.
I tried to say he was efficient tonight.
And again, you could do that for the A's, just not the Mustangs.
So now it's Mose stepping up, who already has an RBI single to the left in this one. First pitch is high. 1-0's the count for Mose. We saw Mose, what was that, Friday night, leave Phil Welch by way of the home run.
And he's just looked locked in at the plate all year from what I've seen.
He has. He's looked great. You know, he's been a lot solid contact, whether it's left the field or not. He's definitely got the job done, and that's why he's staying in the lineup every game.
And the best part about being hot as a hitter is when you're up there, there's no real thinking involved. You're just playing your game. You're not worried about too much of an approach, worried about your mechanics. You're just up there, and you're like, oh, I'm better than this guy. I'm going to swing. And even like your outs tend to be pretty loud when you're hot. And even sometimes the balls you don't bear well just seem to find holes. So when you have that confidence and the calmness when you're up there, that's going to turn you into a fantastic hitter.
Yeah, Mose coming into tonight was hitting .364, 4 for 11 with a home run and a double and 3 RBIs. Well, he's already added to the RBI total. That's up to 4. He's up the average, hitting almost 400 now. So Mose has been very productive.
And now you got a guy with not a great fastball. Might have to trust to get a breaking ball over, but Mose should be swinging hard on this pitch.
He was, and he popped it straight up. Thankfully, it gets out of play, so he'll get another chance here. Now a full count.
As the pitcher here, he just fouled off your fastball. If you're confident right here, if you throw him a breaking ball in the zone, you're going to mess up his timing enough to where even if he hits the ball pretty hard, he's not going to leave the yard. Should be a good fly ball here.
That one is hit good, like Tyler mentioned, but it's not going to be good enough. As that's Lath Holiday running back to the warning track to make the play. 2 outs with a runner on first now for the Mustangs.
Man, if we're going off the kid in the 10th row, you'd have thought that ball was hit 500 feet.
Yeah, I heard some screams from these fans. I mean, he definitely, it appeared, launched off the bat. And with the pop we've seen from Mose already this year, there's good reason to think that one could have gone as well.
It's funny. That's the first ball I've seen all year, really, that when it went over an outfielder's head, it stayed in the yard.
Yeah, these outfield, the big outfield here at Phil Welch, or at least it plays. We already talked about this in the past, but how big this field plays. I mean, these guys that are hitting are playing with very talented, although they're hitting with wood bats. Still very talented hitters that you think should. I thought we'd see more gap to gap, more over the head, but we've only seen a couple of those so far.
I agree, and it's 307 to right field. I mean, for these college kids, that's nothing. And there's a good amount of lefties in the lineup, but we haven't really seen too much power from the left side of the plate all year. I've seen a couple balls hit the other way by Carson Schrack, by a couple other lefties, Jackson Glick, and at the same time, I haven't really seen a bunch of pull side power yet.
This one fouled off, out of play. down by that beautiful Mustangs bouncy house.
I don't know if you saw that on broadcast, but just a terrible read by that fan right there. He went in. All of a sudden, that ball came back. I wouldn't always say first step is back, but you never want to go in on a ball and take a banana route. So that ball definitely should have been reeled in by that fan. And I'm thoroughly disappointed that it wasn't.
Good breakdown from Tyler. Sometimes those ones can be tough to read, especially when you're not seeing them every day. Holton pulls it down the line. It's going to be a fair ball. Schrack off to the races to third base. He's going to slide in to third beautifully. That's a nice piece of hitting. Mason Holton with a 2-out double down the left field line, putting 2 runners in scoring position.
That's one of those your eyes light up, an elevated off-speed pitch. And if you see that ball up early, you're going to hit that ball hard. It's really a testament of can you keep that ball fair, and he was able to do it by a couple inches.
So now Hepburn's up. We haven't seen too much of him this year. We already talked about he reached by way of an error, the second error of the first inning for the Athletics, although he did bring in a run. When you're not an everyday player like Hepburn, how big are these situations for him? He sat behind Felix to start the year, and now he's finally getting an opportunity, and there's 2 outs and 2 guys in scoring position.
So there is a big difference between in college and in summer ball. In college, these are the opportunities where you don't want to get too overexcited.
That one is crushed, but right to Kai Holiday in center field. But yeah, it's these opportunities are big either way. But you can't be mad at that ball hit hard. Unfortunately, doesn't get down for Hepburn. The score remains the same despite the 2-out double. It's 3-0 in favor of your Mustangs. Welcome back to Mustangs baseball. We're leading off for the Athletics is shortstop Sean Bazemore. He's coming off a great freshman year at Angelina Community College where he hit .331 and it's just his first year. So, Tyler, coming off a freshman year like that into summer ball, a lot of guys go to JUCO and don't play right away. This one's going to be hit up the middle. Going to be a tough play for Schmidt. He can't make it, and that's going to be a leadoff single for Bazemore. But coming off a beautiful freshman year, how does that change his mindset coming into summer ball, or what can he do in summer ball to build off that freshman year, go back into his sophomore year, ready to go, ready to improve?
Really, I really wish I could experience what that was, but I'd be on cloud 9, especially with a bunch of guys coming in, returning in JUCO, and you earning your spot against some of the veterans. And that's the thing with JUCO ball is, yes, everyone's athletically a freshman or a sophomore, but some of those guys are 22, 23. That should give you all the confidence in the world. It should be super easy to carry over a now much stress-free environment. Granted, at Phil Welch, there's a bigger turnout than most other places, but you get to play stress-free baseball, and that should unlock a lot of good things for a lot of these players.
I mean, I see a world where this is a very still relaxed environment, I would say, especially if you're really having fun out here with the Mustangs. There's plenty of opportunities to just enjoy yourself while playing baseball in front of people. Obviously, the fans add stress, but if you look at it the right way, it can almost relax you a little bit, knowing that those fans are here to watch you. It's still summer baseball. You should be out there having a good time, getting better, and that's really what matters right now.
It's the fact that you don't have to worry about playing good. If you don't play well, it's not the end of the world. You still get to go out in front of your fans. You get to play baseball. It should be it's summertime. You don't have to worry about, am I going to be in the lineup the next day? You don't have to worry about how much you're going to run at practice, because there really aren't any practices. It's playing without any consequences. And just a tip to anyone playing baseball, young or old, if you play and realize there's no real consequence of you doing bad outside of maybe losing playing time, you still got a lot of life ahead of you. That's going to help you so much, is playing to have fun rather than playing like it's life or death, because we all stop playing baseball one day. You can't have the mentality that everything you do is going to make or break your career, because it won't. It really won't.
So Reith now 1-1 in this count, but he issued another free pass to Cobb previous to McNatt right here. So he's in a little bit of a jam. He's been in a jam already twice. He's worked way out of it. But, Tyler, back to your point, I know you're big on mental health in baseball. How important is the summer to maybe relax these guys mentally?
Oh, it's such a reset. And I think it helps guys who didn't have good years in college, because it's a whole new...
As that's strike three. That's McNatt going down. A beautiful pitch for Reith right there, doing what he's been doing all day in a jam and now working out of it. Continue, sorry.
Yeah, it's a clean slate for a lot of these guys. If you struggle in JUCO, you feel like you're putting in the work, and it's just not getting you playing time. Well, all of a sudden now everyone's on an even playing field. Heck, there could be guys on your team at JUCO that start and you don't, but the minute you get to summer ball, it's a wash. And whoever starts performing then will get more playing time there. So for guys who felt like they were putting in the work and it didn't translate, now is the time for those guys to succeed.
Reith got in there on the first pitch, making it 0-2 now after Macon swings right through the fastball. Or excuse me, 1-1. The first pitch was a little high. 1-1's the count to Tyler Macon as he's going to flare it out. Holton almost brought it in. He can't, and that's going to be an RBI single for Tyler Macon. Macon trying to make up for some of his first inning errors with that one right there.
He's definitely making moves, as we would say. But the biggest play, and I guess we don't have more of that Landon Reith magic with that double play. If Holton comes down with that ball, that is a double play. A very easy double play. The runner on second got so far out that he could have crawled over to second base when able to turn that unassisted. And he really didn't miss that play by much. He got up there, maybe missed it by a foot.
Yeah, it was almost caught. Off the bat, I didn't think there was a chance. He got way up. Holton, you talked about it previously, how these two-sport athletes, they typically are very athletic. And Holton showing right there, unable to bring it in, though.
Now with a runner in front of Macon, I would have thought he'd be on the move if it was just him out there with an open base, but I don't think Connor McNatt's going to go anywhere. But that's something to look out for is Macon. He's the six hitter, but he was a football player. He's probably got some quickness to him.
The 1-1 is roped to center field, but caught by McCollum out there in center field. Beautifully read. Sliding down on the knee, reeled in. Great play from Trevor McCollum in center field.
I mentioned this briefly when I was joking about the fan out there, but that was an example of why it's not always a first step back. In the outfield, if you're in doubt, you go for a step back because it's much better for a ball to drop in front of you rather than a ball go over your head. But McCullum knew that ball was short.
This could be trouble, and that's another beautifully played baseball out there by Darius Freeman this time. So the outfield for the Mustangs saving runs early on. 3-1's the score, thanks to some beautiful plays from this Mustangs outfield. Three-one's your score in the bottom of the fourth inning. Mustangs lead it. They've looked better early on. They found ways to escape jams defensively, and clutch two-out hitting offensively is the reason they're winning right now. McCullum, one of those outfielders, made a beautiful play to end the last inning, takes low for ball one.
Big inning for the Mustangs here because you have a ace team that has looked okay, but they're hanging with you. They're only down 2 right now. They're chipping away, and you haven't really gotten anything offensively since that first inning. And that first inning was helped out by the A's with their defense. So they would love a couple extra base hits to hopefully get this bat a little get these bats going a bit.
1-2's the count. McCullum swinging early on. And he swings again and cannot connect. So that's 2 strikeouts so far for Trevor McCullum. And then steps Jackson Glick, the Staley High School kid going to community college in Arizona.
Arizona baseball is no joke, I can tell you that. Anything in that Southern California, Arizona, Pacific Southwest region usually has some stud ball players, and Glick is definitely one of them.
Maybe some California bias right there from Tyler.
I don't know. I guess I haven't really seen too many games out here in St. Joseph, Missouri, or on that Missouri-Kansas City state line. I don't really know about Liberty, Missouri, but
Glick takes for ball 2. So 1 out, no one on here. Jackson Glick up. 2-0 count. 3-0 after that one skips in.
But if you want like my non-California biased opinion, California baseball, the best players are just as good as the best players anywhere else. There's just more of them. I think that's the easiest way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very highly populated area. You know, you can play more year-round than you can in the Midwest, so it makes sense why you would see more talent out there.
That brings up a great point. That's something I never thought of, is I play baseball year-round.
Yeah, you know,
we don't break when all of a sudden it's winter, the middle of winter, and it's it's highs of 60 in California, which is no big deal. We practice.
Gets the bunt down is Schmidt. We've seen it multiple times. This throw is thrown way high, and this could be a run. It won't be, but that's second and third That's the third bunt we've seen already on the year from Schmidt.
Well, if I'm the Mustangs offense now, I would bunt back to that pitcher because he I wouldn't say he looked uncomfortable on the throw. He let it rip. But that ball was a good 10 feet over the first base. And I felt like I was golfing and I just hit my wedge and all of a sudden thinned it. And I knew that ball was gone as soon as it left my club. So showing off the long toss skills is Sturgeon, but not the right time for it.
Yeah, Sturgeon really let that one eat. I will say, he's settled in since the first inning. I feel like this is the first inning he's been back in trouble, or real trouble with less than 2 outs. But he's looked a lot better in his latest innings than he has in the first one.
I wouldn't even say he looked bad in the first. Again, he didn't get help from his defense. He had to get 5 outs in that
That's
first
a fair
inning.
point.
And he really didn't walk anyone either. There was no free passes. So a lot of it, it's still a team game, but Sturgeon definitely can be a little selfish there and say, I really shouldn't have been the one who's been put in this jam. Now, the error he had there, he has no one really to blame but himself. Because I don't think Yao Ming on top of Shaq's shoulders was catching that one. But
Yao Ming on top of Shaq's shoulders. That's the first time I've ever heard that expression.
It's trademarked. It's Ibramundo.
3-0 is the count to Bonehausen. First base is open. Not anymore. Bonehausen takes the 4-pitch walk. And now it's getting very dangerous for Spurgeon as we're getting into the meat of this Mustangs order, and there's not even 2 outs, and the bases are loaded.
Looks like the A's have someone warming up in the pen, but he's not getting hot yet. If I was the coach right now, I'd have a guy ready. If Freeman clears the bases or gives up another walk, then I'd definitely be looking for some guy to help out my pitcher right now.
The first pitch with the bases loaded is fouled down the first base line. Freeman let that one get up and in on him. And he's looking for some more pine tar, it looks like.
That's a tough swing by Freeman. You got a guy who just walks. He's been pretty wild so far this inning. You got to be looking one pitch, one spot. And I get it if a guy's throwing 98 up there and the ball's moving a ton, but he's not throwing much more than 85 right now. And as a batter who's seen that multiple times, you should have been able to recognize that ball was not going to be a strike because that ball started on the black and then worked its way in. If I'm up there, you are looking for your pitch, but I don't really see how he would have gotten his arm to stand on that one. That was
this
more of his
one
pitch.
should do the job. It's going to be camped under by Holiday, but the run scores. So that's Glick coming in to score for the Mustangs. The RBI will go to Darius Freeman due to the sac fly. Mustangs lead at 4-1.
I don't know if it was picked up on the broadcast, but Holiday did do a great job of keeping the runner at second base. He did a little fake catch out there, and it caused the guy on second to jump early. It didn't really fool the guy at third, but that was a pretty smart play. He faked like he was catching the ball earlier, and it got the guy to jump, and all of a sudden now you have to go back and tag.
Yes, that's... Pitch is in there. The double steal works perfectly.
When you have a lefty up there on the mound, it's easy to control the running game at first base, but the minute a guy gets to second, if you're not quick to the plate, guys will be running, as you can see right there.
So Schmidt makes up for the, accidental break early on the sac fly, or whatever you want to call it, with the stolen base. And now this one looks like it could get down, and it does, as that's going to be a 2-out RBI single for Carson Schrack. 2 RBIs. Man, that's got to feel good. A little bloop single brings in 2. Mustangs now on top 6-1 in just the 4th inning.
That's how you know you're hot. I mean, you're not even finding barrels, but that ball was placed perfectly out there. And as the pitcher, that's got to frustrate you. You've given up 6 runs with less than half of them earned. And that was a good pitch, too. That was a 2-seam that ran in on his hands. Did exactly what we wanted to do, but just found a hole.
And now this one's going to be flied way up into the air but camped under and caught by Cobb at first base. So that'll end the inning, but not before the Mustangs can double their score. 6-1 is the score. Mustangs lead it, go into the 5th inning. Welcome back to Phil Welch Stadium. New pitcher for the Mustangs, it's Riker Curry. Curry in his last outing was at Phil Welch, where he would throw 2 innings, giving up 2 hits, 2 runs scored, faced 10 batters, and struck out just 1. The 2 runs were unearned, though, so still the 0 ERA for Curry on the year.
It's funny. I don't know if it was intentional, but we got a full Pitt State pitching staff as of right now, as Riker Curry also attended Pitt State. Definitely funky delivery, and going off of the guy they just faced, the tall lefty, pretty high arm slot, to a guy who's low sidearm, it's definitely tough for these Clarinda hitters.
Yeah, we've talked about it before, but the things that you can do to a ball when you throw from that arm slot is endless. I mean, you can get so many different movements on that ball, tail in, tail away, depending on what side the batter is, but it can be really, really hard to hit.
Well, the one thing we haven't talked about yet on this broadcast is something called approach angle. And when you throw a ball from the sidearm, and especially with that run, as you can see right there, the approach angle of that pitch, the direction that pitch is coming in from the mound, is something that is so out of the ordinary. It's a big outlier for Riker, right? For example, you throw a fastball that's 100% straight, it's going to come in at an approach angle of a little bit downward trajectory. It doesn't really have much more of a horizontal trajectory. But he starts all the way on the left side of the rubber and lets his ball tail into the batter. So now that ball's coming in at like a 15, 20-degree angle, which is very hard for the hitter to hit. Also, because he has such a low arm slot, the ball's coming in at a much more flat angle as opposed to a downward trajectory like the starting pitcher, Landon Reed.
We saw last time Curry pitched where they went to Jace Johnson out of the pen after him. And, I mean, it just kind of shows the difference. We say Curry's a sidearm pitcher, but Johnson, that's real sidearm. That's submarine. Is there a difference for what a pitcher can do? Does Curry have more up his sleeve from his arm slot? As that one's going to be grounded sharply, but right back to Curry for an easy ground out. So, but can Curry do more to his ball with where his arm slot is, or is it more is Johnson at the advantage throwing from submarine down there, almost touching the dirt?
That's a very good question. So the reason why I like Riker is he throws almost at a 90-degree angle from like the ground per se, which means his ball, and you'll see it there, and I want to see him throw a slider pretty soon or a sweeper, is his ball is going to have direct side spin. So he's maximizing the amount of movement he can get laterally with his fastball running away. I mean, that's probably running about 20 inches. And then you have a slider that comes also at a 90-degree angle, so you're getting true side spin, and that ball is going to break 20 inches the other way. So that's 40 inches of break that the batter has to work with. Jace Johnson, on the other hand, because he's a little bit more under that 90-degree mark, his ball's going to have a little bit more dip as opposed to the side. However, the batter is still not used to seeing either of these arm slots. So Riker Curry's going to get much more movement, but a guy like Jace Johnson can also be effective. Think about Tyler Rogers on the Giants. That guy pitches and he scrapes the dirt. This ball doesn't move a crazy amount, but it's just so different spins than what the batter's used to seeing.
That one almost got a swing from Quinn Maher. Instead, it's going to be a full count, 3-2.
Even that ball started the middle of the batter's box, but still tried to work his way back because he was still able to get a good amount of spin.
Same pitch, same result. Ball 4 that's going to be a walk for Maher. So now coming up is Sean Bazemore. We already saw Bazemore in this one in his first at bat. He walked and then singled to center to follow that in the 4th inning.
Now this is where Riker's going to thrive, is these righty-righty matchups, because you have a pitch that comes so far in where he can start it off the plate and have it run and hit the corner like it did there, or he can start it on the plate and run it down the guy's hands. And then he also has the slower sweeper to where he may get guys fishing 3 feet out of the zone.
You saw Hepburn call time. That was due to an obstacle being thrown out onto the field by a fan on accident, I think, out there in left field. Bodenhausen took care of it.
Both Bodenhausen and Freeman have been active out there in terms of fan interference.
Clear in the field. That one's strike 2. 0-2's the count to Bazemore.
I don't care how good of a hitter you are. When you have a sequence like that, a fastball that starts off the plate and runs in, and then a slider that starts on
Runner
the plate and runs
goes,
out.
and this one's going to be shot out to center field. It's going to be 1st and 3rd now with 2 outs thanks to the hit and run. Whether that was planned or not, it worked out beautifully for the A's.
Yeah, I don't think that was I think that was a run and hit, because if he's thrown out at second, you got your 3-hitter back up next inning with a new count. And if he's not, you move the guy over. So there was really no big risk there. In terms of Riker Curry's pitch, that's something you can't do. You just throw a perfect sequence on the outside part of the plate. Guys up there guessing. Right there, I wouldn't give the guy anything remotely close to hit, and he left that one down the middle.
Yeah, so a mishap from Curry, and now he's got himself in a little bit of a jam. Trying to work out of it. Drake Cobb doing everything he can to take advantage of it and bring the Athletics back into this one. 1-1's the count. There's still 2 outs here in the top of the 5th inning. Plenty of time left for the A's to score some runs. 1-1 squirts away from Hepburn, and it's going to result in a run on a wild pitch, and the runner's going to go from 1st to 3rd. So aggressive base running pays off for Bazemore. He's now at 3rd base, and the Athletics are going to get a run.
When you walk a guy on 2 outs as a pitcher, it always comes back to haunt you. And the reason why is it's in the back of your mind, as if you almost got out of the inning and you let a guy on. You feel like the rest of the inning is all on you, and it's kind of disappointing, as opposed to sometimes when you walk the first guy, you feel like you have to lock in. It's like it's very disappointing when you walk a guy after getting the first 2 out. We walk a guy with 2 outs.
The 3-1 will result in another 2-out walk. So he's now walked 2 batters with 2 outs and given up a single to center field. So an inning that started on cruise control for Curry has turned into a little bit of a traffic mess.
It's a weird game. On one hand, I feel like the Mustangs could have already ran away with this game. But on the flip side, Clarinda's not only battling, but they're stranding guys on. on the flip side, they're like one good hit away from really putting themselves back in this game, and it just hasn't happened yet.
And we saw it from Reith and his innings of work. I think he had really one really clean inning. But, I mean, props to him. This shows what kind of pitcher he is to be able to not really have it today and still throw 4 innings of one-run baseball.
But yeah, they're just lacking that big hit. The Mustangs haven't really gotten the big hit either, but they also have scored a lot due to errors on the other side.
Yeah, the Mustangs have definitely taken advantage of some mistakes that were made. The 0-2 from Curry is swung on and missed. So a big strikeout from Curry limits the damage. The Mustangs will still lead by 4 when we return in the bottom of the 5th inning. Welcome back to beautiful and shady Phil Welch Stadium tonight as the clouds have covered up the sun for the entire broadcast. Although it has not covered up the Mustangs offense. They lead 6-2
Good one, Charlie.
in the bottom of the 5th. New pitcher coming in for the A's. It's Damian Cabrera. The right-hander is 6'1", weighing in 210 pounds. He's committed to Arizona Western, which is a junior college in Arizona.
Yeah, Damien's big frame. As he doesn't throw, not gonna be overpowering. Probably has some good feel. He had some good feel, has some good off speed. It's a good feel for it in his warm-ups. One thing I want to mention is sandbagging. So we couldn't quite get on the broadcast in time, but Damien was out there throwing 60, 65 miles an hour to start the inning, and then comes into the game and starts throwing his normal 83, 84. Sandbagging on the mound has always been a tough thing because all of a sudden, as soon as first pitch is ready, like the game's starting, you have to completely reset your mind and compete as before you're kind of just lobbing throws in there. Never worked for me, but I know some guys that like doing it. You also have the element of surprise where a batter hasn't seen you and they can't time you up on the on-deck circle when you're not throwing hard.
So Mason Holton trying to get things going for the Mustangs in the bottom half of the 5th inning.
Not sure where that one missed.
He takes, I think, low, but a close take with 2 strikes for Holton.
Yeah, we'll just say Holton has a fantastic eye.
Holton already 2 for 2 on the day with an RBI, or 2 RBIs, excuse me, with a single and a double.
And a heck of a turn at shortstop. I mean, can't really dream up a much better day for your Mustangs debut.
The 2-2 from Cabrera misses down. Full count now to Holton.
Both these Clarinda pitchers really not showing too much velocity. I didn't mention earlier in the broadcast he was 85 to 87. I think both these guys have been 82 to 85. Really not crazy velocity, but doesn't seem to matter.
Enough velocity there as Cabrera gets Holton to swing right through the up and in fastball for the first out of the bottom frame.
Another finding way to get outs. That's the name of the game. It doesn't matter how hard you throw. Other guys in the league, and Zach Greinke, Brent Suter, don't even touch 90 anymore, but they still find ways to get outs and use their off speed and sequence correctly.
That's Hepburn taken down and in with one out here in the fifth. He reached by way of an error in the first inning and then lined out to center, and now he's going to be 1 for 3 with a single to center field. This one falls, unlike his last at-bat where he hit a little too hard.
That's the sign of a really good hitter there. We're always trained for inside pitches, we pull, outside pitches, we go the other way. But what Hepburn just did was he caught a fastball on the outside part of the plate and hit it to left center, which means he was early on it. You're not going to have perfect timing every time you're at the plate, but he kept his barrel in the zone long enough to get a good enough part of the bat and able to line that to the outfield. A great hitter, a good hitter can pull pitches on the inside and hit pitches on the outside to the other way. But a great hitter can pull outside pitches and hit inside pitches the other way.
This one is down the line, but snagged over there. No chance for 2, but they will get 1 thanks to the beautiful backhanded play by Quinn Maher over there at third base. Those can be tough on you, especially at third. I thought that one might have been down the line, but McCullum will go back to the dugout.
And I never played infield much because I'm a lefty, but he caught that ball after its first hop on the dirt, and that's always a tough play because it's so unpredictable. That's typically where the bad wow, that was a very good pickup. I thought he almost had him. A lot of the bad hops you see on TV come from that first bounce off the dirt, whether it's a little rock in the way, uneven surface. But that's when balls can skip on guys. So that was a great job of keeping his composure right there.
This one up the middle. It shouldn't be a problem, and it's not. As that's Glick rounding out to end the bottom of the 5th inning. The Mustangs never really able to get anything going here in the bottom of the 5th. The score remains 6-2. Welcome back to Phil Welch Stadium, where the Mustangs lead at 6-2. Riker Curry still on the mound. That one's hit sharply and unable to be gloved by shortstop Holton out there at short. We mentioned he's had a great day offensively and defensively, not able to bring that one in.
I mean, that ball was a screamer off the bat. That probably came in the upper 90s. And it was a heck of an effort. Degree of difficulty on that was tremendous. Now you got the leadoff guy on and making, and I would not be surprised if he gets the green light to steal.
Strike 1 for Curry. as he settles in to face Mike Polubinski. Polubinski in right field today. I haven't said his name too much. This one's going to be dribbled up to Curry, who can't get it. Or a foul ball. Excuse me. It appears it hit Polubinski in the batter's box. So
Yeah,
0-2's the count. Thankfully it did, because he was going to dig that one out if it didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he really could have put that in a much better spot on like a little push bunt to short, which you don't really see, but got past Curry. Something funny with Tyler Macon over there is he didn't have a sliding mitt on when he was the trail runner, but now he has it on as a lead runner. So I just expect him to be on the move at some point.
It's probably because he didn't need the speed boost when he wasn't trying to steal a base.
You're right. The speed boost, you got the contact boost when you got the shin guard, elbow guard. It gives you better plate vision. And can't forget the cleats.
Ooh, that was almost really bad. Curry gets the strikeout, but Hepburn almost sailed like a fastball right into Curry's head as he spiked his throw down to second, attempting to get Tyler Macon's nab him trying to steal a base. Instead, he threw it off the mound.
That's what you call a perfect delayed steal, because Macon gave the appearance that he wasn't going anywhere, but he takes 2 shuffles, and once that ball crosses the plate, he's off. And that completely flustered Hepburn out there and really almost killed his pitcher right there.
Yeah, that was very dangerous. We both reacted up here as if, and for a second, we thought he was going to get smoked.
I've never experienced that as a pitcher too closely. I've gotten a couple that have buzzed the tower a bit, but never nothing at my feet, my leg area. But when you're pitching, you kind of expect comebackers from the batter, but from your catcher, that's pretty rare.
This one is in play, and it's a fair ball and an easy play for Curry. It will move Macon up to third base, but it will get the second out of the inning. So 2 outs, runner on third.
Better thank Jeter Mose for that. He made that look like a much better throw than it was. Jeter doing a great job of using both feet in order to cover the entire bag. Is he was set up on the inside part and was able to shift his feet and catch that ball on the outside. Not really where he wanted to throw it, but he made that look a lot more simple than it should have been.
Curry drops a curveball in for strike 1. If the A's are able to get 1 run here, it's just a 3-run game with 3 innings to play. So definitely still in a bit of a tight one, or at least the potential to be a tight one here at Phil Welch.
Take away all the errors, and this is a tie ball game.
This curveball down just a bit. 2-1's your count. Can it be tough maybe to throw curveballs with runners on third, maybe scared to bounce it? Take me through your mindset when you have a guy on third base throwing off speed.
I think it depends on the day. If you are leading with that curveball, you feel like that's your pitch, it's never even a thought in the back of your mind. It also, a big part, and we talked about this earlier, is the chemistry between the pitcher and catcher. Is if you got a guy back there you can trust and is wanting to throw that curveball, you're going to have a lot more confidence throwing it. If you're a little wild or you don't really know your catcher, you might be a little tentative and you might miss him up.
This one's going to be hit sharply to Schmidt at second base. He gloves it with no problem, throws it over to first, and that'll do it for the inning. The Athletics strand a runner on third base as Riker Curry is able to work out of a jam. Mustangs lead it 6-2. Bottom of the 6th inning, Mustangs on top like they have been all night. 6-2 is a comfortable lead. We've talked about this before. The difference between like a blowout and then a lead like this, where you're only up 4, enough baseball left where one bad inning and you're all tied up, but still enough to where there's no pressure like you have to score here when you're hitting or when you're on the mound. You have a little bit of room for error.
I think that's why in order to get a save as a pitcher, it's a 3-run thing, because anytime you're up by more than 4, the only way one swing can do it is a grand slam to tie it up. But when you're up 4, there's, like you said, there's not much stress. You just feel like you have control of this game.
Oh, got a hold of that one, and it drops in due to a slippage out there and left, and he's diving into second safely. That was a bit of a confusing play because,
Got him.
or excuse me, no. Call it time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Out there in left field, Holiday slipping and falling on what should have been a routine play. And Schmidt's going to take advantage of that. Those are those friendly doubles. Not a really great way to describe that, but it's not an error. No contact was made with the ball. Cabrera might be a little upset with his left fielder on that one.
That's why baseball is an unfair game. Guy absolutely gets sniped in the outfield, and it's considered a double, but then a shortstop can make a diving play on a ball he has no chance in, and then come up and make a bad throw, and that's considered an error. That's why a big argument in MLB is how much does fielding percentage matter? Some of the best fielders like Anderson Simmons may not have the highest fielding percentage.
As this one's bunted to Cabrera, who will throw to first for an easy first out, but that will do the job. Schmidt advances to third.
Sturgeon should take lessons from Cabrera right there.
There
He
we
made that
go.
throw look easy. Well, like I was saying, in the field, there's a stat called outs above average, which takes how many outs a fielder makes as opposed to the average player at that position during the year. Doesn't take into account fielding percentage, just how many outs you make. But when guys can cover more ground in the infield, there's potential for them to make more errors. So that's why fielding percentage may not be the most effective stat.
Freeman's going to do exactly what he did in his last at-bat, and that's all the Mustangs need. Coming up with guys in scoring position and doing your job, that's Darius Freeman tonight. So his second sack fly in his many at-bats makes it 7-2 Mustangs.
Man, I really wish I could be as consistent with my irons as Darius Freeman was with that. Those sack flies, those balls were maybe 5-10 feet apart from each other.
Freeman doing exactly what he's being asked to do. Not any more, not any less. But he's a big reason they're up 7-2 right now. That's the second RBI of the day.
It's weird not seeing him on the bases today.
It is weird. We haven't seen him steal a base yet today.
Can't steal if you can't get on, I guess.
That was the old argument for guys like Billy Hamilton, who would find ways to lead the league in bases, but then you watch them play and they steal every time, and you're just like, how does this guy not have 1,000? It's like, well, sometimes he doesn't reach first base. This one's hit up the middle by Schrack, gloved awkwardly, but the play still being made by Macon, who was in danger of making his third error on the night. Instead, Schrack grounds out to second base. Mustangs get one. 7-2 is the score right now going into the 7th inning. Welcome back to Phil Welch Stadium, where we're back to the top of the lineup for Kai Holiday, trying to get things started, set the table for the rest of his lineup to follow.
New pitcher for the Mustangs, Camden Lutz. And if you were to ever look up in the dictionary what an effortless fastball looks like, it's this guy. This guy probably throws low 90s, but looks like he's just lobbing it in there with his mechanics.
Yeah, Lutz on the year has had one appearance where he picked up the win. He threw just one inning, threw 2 innings, gave up 2 hits, a walk, and an earned run. Not the start he was looking for, as that's going to be a single up the middle for Holiday.
Camden Lutz, though, definitely got his innings last season as he threw 44 for North Central Missouri Community College. And he started 6 games, made 12 appearances, and had a 5.27 ERA in his 44 innings. He's 6'4", 215.
Yeah, a big guy for sure, but he definitely uses it to his advantage with that velocity. So Holiday at first probably thinking about stealing.
The big thing for Cam is he's got a good fastball with movement. He's just got to get ahead here.
It's going to be a foul ball as it's fouled off Quinn Maher, the third baseman's foot.
Back-to-back innings now where guys have fouled pitches off their foots.
Yeah, the ball's dribbled out the exact same spot both times.
I was actually watching a Vanderbilt baseball game, I think against Coastal Carolina, and I saw a batter, I think it was is it Matthew Polk? He's actually from my hometown area, and he got hit by a foul ball in his leg.
Ooh.
And then a pitch later, did it again.
Ooh. The other day for the Royals, Kyle Isbell hit a foul ball into his face.
Oh.
That wasn't great. He ended up being all right, thankfully. That's a foul ball, so the count remains 2-2.
Oh, it's still not the worst place you can get hit, I think, in the face. It's a baseball player.
Oh, man, I can validate getting hit in the face does not feel great.
Yeah, but as a catcher, I'm sure you've gotten hit in other
everywhere
spots
else.
as well.
This one's chopped out and unplayable as that ball had some eyes on it, and it squirts into right field. Call that one a seeing eye single.
Yeah, no, he, with Mose playing a little bit over toward the line, and the second baseman Schmidt playing a little more up the middle for the double play. Just really a perfectly placed single.
Bazemore stepping in now. He's been the best player all year for the A's, and a chance to do that and showcase why he's the 3-hole with no one out and two runners on, one of them in scoring position.
And yeah, we mentioned earlier, Bazemore not only doing it for the A's, but also for Angelina Community College. He batted .331 with a .414 on base and a .451 slugging percentage with a couple bombs. So Bazemore definitely a big bat in the lineup they want to watch out for.
Tonight he's 2 for 2 with a walk. He doesn't have an RBI, but a run did score in his last at-bat due to a wild pitch. So, I mean, he's played a big factor tonight. 2 singles, both to center field. The 1-1 misses outside, making it 2-1. Still no one out here in the top of the 7th inning.
All right, Bazemore's going to be looking for his pitch. Probably looking for a fastball in the inside part of the plate. Would not be surprised if he takes a massive hack at this one.
Fouled back.
And yes, he did take a massive hack at that pitch.
In a situation like that, if you're Lutz on the mound, are you just trying to blow it by him, or what's the mentality? I think everyone, it's a fastball count at least to say.
I'd actually look for something away. Try to paint that outside a little bit. Not getting too cute.
That's what he did right there. Well said from Tyler, as that's a well-located pitch from Camden Lutz. A big-time strikeout, taking down one of the better hitters in this lineup.
But yeah, when you have that fastball count, you know a guy is looking for something in the inside part of the plate. He's gonna almost obliterate anything on the inner half. So you look outer half, and if you miss, you miss. But at least now you're not getting torched for 3 runs. And if you throw a good pitch in the outer half, there's a good chance the guy rolls over. You might get 2 outs in one swing.
So 0-1 after the strikeout. Lutz does a good job, gets ahead. Now he's way ahead. 0-2's the count.
A good job of Lutz to keep his composure. A couple guys get on with a couple hits, and now you just battle back, get a big strikeout, and put the pressure back on Clarinda. They get a couple hits off you early, but now down 0-2 to this guy, you get him out, and you're cruising up there.
Yeah, Lutz definitely has the stuff to retire these hitters. He's one of with the velocity. We haven't seen too much off speed, but I'm sure it's in his repertoire. So he should be a pitcher up there. He should be confident. What I'm getting at.
I agree.
The 0-2, just outside.
And that's a great 0-2 pitch. Batter didn't budge, but I mean that's a slider that starts on the plate, ends off of it. I'd say it was a pretty good take, but it might have froze him here. Now you go to the fastball outside, and he should be looking at it for strike 3.
Runners both go. They went to the fastball outside, but it was just too far outside. The double steal works as well. So now there's 2 runners in scoring position. And a chance for this game to really, really get close with just 1 swing.
Actually, I think that was a breaking ball right there, and that's a count we're on 1-2. If you throw back-to-back breaking balls, you got to execute it, or else now he's going to be up there looking for a fastball on 2-2.
That was a fastball. And now we're full. It'd be nice if we had our Jumbotron out there, like we do at the Royals or any professional game, spitting out the pitch.
Like, they have so many stats now: exit velocity, launch angle, approach angle.
That one had a high exit velocity, but it's going to be hit a little too high to do too much damage. But the Athletics will get a run. Both runners tag up safely. Drake Cobb does his job. 7-3 is the score now after the Athletics get one thanks to the Cobb sacrifice fly. You can live with that if you're Lutz. Would you agree?
I agree, and you're also up 5, so does your ERA take a hit? Yes, but you are now 2 outs. Any out gets the, well.
That one thrown right at Connor McNatt. And he might have saved him a run because I don't think there's any way Hepburn's going to be able to glove that because he completely lost it. Those balls as a catcher, when they go behind the batter, I mean, you're just sticking your glove out there and hoping that you're able to get something because you completely lose the ball. And so it's hard to bring those in.
At the same time, though, the batter, some people try to get out of the way of pitches. That ball was headed right for like his tailbone area. There was no possible way for him to get out of the way. I do know a lot about getting hit in the tailbone by a pitch, Charlie. Not really a story I need to get into on air, but yeah, it did take me out for at least 3 weeks.
A painful story for Tyler when we were up in Florida this year for KU.
Yeah.
1-1's the count.
Yeah, I got hit by a pitch in the tailbone. Long story short, I got infected. Ended up being like a golf ball sized cyst, and it was not fun.
1-2's the count after Tyler gives a good analysis of his tailbone injury.
It was not that good of an analysis. If I broke it down in an analysis, a lot of people would change the channel. Anyway, we got a 1-2 count here.
That one just misses. As the Mustangs fans thought we had strike 3. So did Cam Lutz, but instead he's walking back to the rubber. He's going to need another one. 2-2.
I mean, even the batter thought that one was a strike, too. That fantastic pitch, but the one guy he needed to persuade didn't call it.
Macon takes again this one up. He went to the breaker after missing with the fastball. Full count, 3-2. Runner on first will be going.
This is the biggest pitch of the game right here because he let this guy on. Tying run comes to the plate.
It's going to be shortly, softly grounded to Schrack, who makes a crazy play. Carson Schrack with a run-saving play keeps it a 4-run lead. A complete 360 to save Cam Lutz on the mound. What a play from Carson Schrack. 3-7 is the score here at Phil Welch. Leading off here in the bottom of the 7th inning is Jeter Mose. Cabrera still on the mound for the A's as we get ready to start the bottom of the 7th inning. Mustangs looking to add to their 4-run lead. They've held it the entire game.
Mose looking for a fastball inside. If he gets it, it's crushed. As there was a fastball inside. It was
a little
just missed. A little
too far inside. Yeah. Mose on the day is 1 for 3. 2 flyouts and a single.
Mose's got a fun little shimmy every time he takes a pitch. Let's see if we can look for it.
Doesn't take that one because he's hitting it up the middle for a base hit. Bazemore gave his best attempt at it, but it was no good. The single squeaks through the infield for a leadoff single for Jeter Mose. Here comes Mason Holton as he looks to add to his already nice day at the plate where he's 2 for 3 with a double and a single.
And solid defense at shortstop. Can't forget that. Just an all-around good game for Holton.
So this is Holton's first game playing of the year after he finished up a good freshman year at Coffeyville. Same community college as his partner in crime over there on the left side of the infield, Carson Schrack. 1-1's your count. No outs, 1 runner on here in the bottom of the 7th inning.
No, and if you're the Mustangs, you'd love to cash in another run, especially since they've been chipping away. Scored in 3 of the last 4 innings. You want to put this game out of reach if you can.
That was the swing to do it. Holton took a hearty hack at that one, fouled it straight back. Sometimes that's the worst feeling. To everyone watching, it's just a foul ball, but now you have 2 strikes. He missed a pitch that he probably wants back because he had a fastball over the plate. It can be tough to lock back in after fouling off a pitch just like that.
You can't. What's in the past in the past.
And that's kind of exactly what happened is Holton now 0 for his last 2 with 2 strikeouts.
But yeah, you can't hit the foul ball, show your frustration, and then expect a good result after there. As much as it sucks and as hard as to do is you have to flush it. You have to be like, well, I can't do anything about it now. I got to focus on the next pitch at hand, and it didn't look like Holton did that.
So now it's Hepburn driving one into the gap. It's going to be a tough play by Holiday. He does and goes to his knees to make the play. That one was hit hard and slicing away from Kai Holiday out there in the center field. But he's able to show off some speed, sprint to a spot, and make a nice grab.
It was a good adjustment for not the best read. He kind of came in on that and had to work his way back. As an outfielder, you never want to have to catch a ball that's going over your head. You want to limit that as much as possible. And he kind of went at that laterally and then had to work his way toward the fence. Much easier if he took a deeper route and then came in on that ball instead.
So Hepburn, kind of an unfortunate day for him. He reached out by an error in the first inning, but since then he's had 2 lineouts to center field and then a single. So not a bad day, 1 for 4, but it could have been an even better day as that one got a piece of Trevor McCullum. He's going to take his free base.
No elbow guard either. He's like a champ. Never fun to get hit by a pitch, but elbow is not a fun. He's definitely going to feel that tomorrow.
He's acting as if that one didn't hit him at all, but it clearly did. Got a good chunk of that elbow. So now it's Glick stepping up. We've seen the damage Jackson Glick can do with 2 outs and a runner's on already this year multiple times. He's come up big time with some 2-out RBI knocks.
Yeah, some guys, the clutch factor, can't say it's like a universal thing that good hitters get better, but clutch is basically how much better are you with runners in scoring position. Like if you're a 200 hitter and you turn to a 300 hitter, you're more clutch than a guy who hits 350 and hits 280 with runners in scoring position. I couldn't tell you why some people are get at others, but some people just live for the big moment. I think it's really just a mental thing is Do you want to be the guy up now with a couple guys on?
I mean, in a perfect world, everyone wants to be clutch, and everyone kind of might convince themselves they are clutch. But in reality, not everyone's coming through when it matters most. But a guy like Glick, I firsthand saw it in high school, and he's showing it again right now for the Mustangs. This one going to be a diving stop made by Macon. I don't know if he needed to go to the ground for that one, but he did. That'll retire Glick. So that's it for the 7th inning. We're going to go to the 8th with the Mustangs leading at 7-3. Welcome back to Phil Welch Stadium. New pitcher on the mound for the Mustangs. It's Sam Pitts. Pitts on the year has 2 appearances, has thrown 3 innings, given up 1 hit. No earned runs, though, and 3 strikeouts. No walks either.
Yeah, Pitts is 6 foot tall left-hander. And he's been a strike thrower all year. That's what you want. Not an overpowering lefty by any means. But he seems to get ahead in the count. And at Cochise College in Arizona, his freshman year, he went 6-3 with a 4.88 ERA. Does the job.
Yeah, Pitts really locked in so far early on in the Mink League. Swung on and missed. So Pitts gets the swing and a miss to make it a 1-2 count. The 1-2 is fouled off by Mike Polubinski.
And Pitts has a little bit of cut to his fastball. And as a lefty, it's very effective. I know that firsthand. But having cut on your fastball as a lefty, it's just not what most guys are used to seeing from there. Is in that lefty-righty matchup, that ball is, instead of tailing away from you, is going into your barrel. As a lefty-lefty, instead of it coming back into your barrel, the ball's running away from you. And when you see it from that side of the mound, it's just so different to what you're used to. I believe that's what makes a good pitcher is, do you stand out from the rest? It's not about having the most velocity or the most movement. It's just how different are you than the average pitcher. And being a lefty with cut is definitely different than the average.
Went with the curveball. Fouled off as rain begins to fall here at Phil Welch. The stadium is slowly dwindling out as the fans either are scooting up under the roof here at the stadium or making their way home. We're pulling out some umbrellas. We have a couple umbrellas out there. The 2-2 is fouled off.
Good analysis, Charlie. I like it. I like it. Yeah, you can't see on the broadcast at all, but it's a nice little shower out here.
You really can only see it if you look straight up into the lights. The 2-2 is in there for strike 3. Frozen solid is Mike Polubinski.
Now, and Sam Pitts just pitching with confidence. It's what he's done all year. Not afraid to go after guys. Not afraid to be in the zone. And when you pitch with that confidence rather than pitching scared, it can make guys that throw 88 much more effective than guys that throw 94.
I'd say Pitch is he's throwing some good velocity too, compared to what we've seen tonight. A little, I don't want to say down night, but not as much hard heat throwers as we're used to. That bunt attempt popped up.
Yeah, but Pitts at like the college level, I wouldn't say is overpowering. Like there are some guys here,
For sure.
Tim Teixeira, it's like you would call overpowering. But Sam, he throws good. Don't get me wrong, but what makes him effective is his ability to get ahead in the count with some movement.
I would agree with that. As here's Holiday stepping up to the box. He's 0 for 3 on the day with a strikeout, a fly out to right field, and a ground out to the pitcher.
And now, I mean, Pitts can go anywhere. He just threw a breaking ball in for a strikeout, throwing a fastball. He go fastball down, freeze a guy, fastball up, chase, or another curveball.
He went with the fastball up, didn't get the chase, but it does set up the next pitch beautifully.
Yeah, and if he wants to get a guy looking, he can't go fastball down here.
He ends up going with a changeup, it appears, and he's going to get a second strikeout in just as many batters.
And that's the importance of getting ahead. I mean, you heard us just talk about 3 different sequences he could have gone to. He went to a 4th one. Imagine what the batter's trying to do up there now is he's got 4 or 5 things he has to worry about.
Yeah, falling behind in a count is never fun. As here's Caden Lindsay. He also hasn't done too much at the plate today. 2 strikeouts and a ground out. He's looking to get something going for his team and himself.
Pitt's doing just a great job being in control. I mean, he's thrown, what, 2, 3 balls?
Yeah, I mean,
entire inning?
when you look at his stats on the year, I read him to you when he came in, but it's kind of exactly what you expected. 2 innings, no walks, no runs, 3 strikeouts. So, no surprise that this is what we're getting. And that's another strikeout. So, Sam Pitts strikes out the side. Coming in out of relief, getting the job done. A beautiful inning from Pitts. Score stays the same, 7-3 Mustangs. Welcome back to Phil Welch Stadium. It's really starting to come down now. As you look up into the lights, you can see the rainfall. The wind's also now blowing a little bit more than it was at the start of the game. It's blowing out to dead center. Does the rain affect, how much harder does it make it to play baseball when it's raining like this?
Oh, I mean, as a pitcher, it's hard to grip. As a batter, it's hard to grip. I mean, case in point right there. First pitch, you didn't see it, but that ball drilled the batter right there. Looked like a breaking ball, just let go of his hand so early. What I really hope is they let him keep playing, get the bottom of the 8th. Mostly for us interns trying to get out of here, get home. But when it's the bottom of the 8th, like game's almost over. You got maybe 20 minutes of game time, barring anything crazy. So very helpful.
Yeah, I mean, no one wants this game to get called. You don't want to have to. If it did, it would most likely be the end of the game. You don't want to see a delay. These players, you're in the 8th inning. The coaches. Again, it's summer baseball, so they're not. It's not that they're trying to come in, get their work in, and get home at the end of the day.
Yeah, and some of us have to drive back to Lawrence tonight. I'd much rather not have to hang out here and watch rain.
You don't want to watch rainfall. As that one is launched, but just short. The rain and the wind might have killed it a little bit. Off the bat, it looked crushed, but Bodenhausen didn't have enough pop to get it out tonight.
Yeah, I really thought that ball was gone off the bat.
I just thought for sure, and we're gonna
delaying to rain.
So that's unfortunate as the rain really starts to come down now. We'll take a quick break as the Mustangs bullpen sprints in. There's no roof out there in right field, but it's 7-3 when we're gonna go to break. We're in a rain delay here in St. Joe with 1 out and 1 on. What you're looking at now is the sign of the fans leaving the game as they saw lightning. And in the 8th inning of the Mustangs game, they decided this far into the game, up 7-3, that's going to be the ball game. So the Mustangs win it 7-3 here. A bit of an abrupt ending, but still a really, really well-played game from St. Joe. The Athletics let it get a little out of hand early and were never able to truly bounce back. Tyler, what did you really see out there tonight that, gave the Mustangs a 7-3 win?
I give a nice thank you card to the Clarinda defense because that was really what separated both teams. I wouldn't say, you take that away, I wouldn't say the Mustangs outplayed the Athletics by any means, but they did a lot of things right and didn't make too many big mistakes like the error. And really, I think it said 2 errors on our box score, but there was probably closer to 4 when you had the overthrow from the outfield. You had a couple other plays that could have gone either way as a hit or an error. But such a fundamentally sound game defensively for the Mustangs, and the Bats did enough to win a ball game.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like you just said, they just did enough to get out of here with a good win. Who would you say, looking out there, maybe was the player of the game tonight for St. Joe? I mean, it certainly a lot of players who did, like a good amount. There wasn't a standout player, at least in my eyes. But if you had to go with one, who would you give it to?
That's tough. I'm definitely between 2. And I'm going to go with Sam Pitts, who came in and shut the door. 3 Ks in like 12, 13 pitches. You can't ask much more for a reliever. But at the same time, was it the most high-leverage situation? Definitely not. He came in a 7-3 ball game, and the game was called due to rain. If I had to go with one guy, and unfortunately the ending of his game wasn't great, that's Mason Holton. He had a couple hits, couple RBIs. And what doesn't show up box seat is just a really well-played game at short. We mentioned no errors for the Mustangs today, but there were a couple plays that many shortstops could not have made. The first one that comes to mind is that double play turn between him and Schmidt up the middle. So when you think about that, that's just a well-played game from Mason Holton, and he probably has my pick for today.
Yeah, I agree with that. I really do. Holton, again, like you mentioned, 2 strikeouts to end his night, but don't let that take you away from what he did early on. And I think we both were a little confused when we saw Schrack playing third today after what he's been doing in the lineup, and his defense at short's been definitely very fundamentally sound. But I have no more questions after watching Holton. I mean, he's a very high-caliber player. He hit 100 average points lower at Coffeyville than Schrack did, but still, I mean, if you watch just tonight, those players are both very talented. They look very similar in all their assets of the game.
And it just shows you how much versatility they have. Is you have those two guys that play, and credit to Schrack. There was a play in the last couple innings where he went up to his left, cut off Holton on a ground ball, and really, if Holton gets that ball, there's no way he throws him out with how long it took. So that was a fantastic play. You also have Jordan Black, who plays the infield as well. So, and Schmidt is no slouch over there at second base. So you have 4 guys that could play anywhere on the infield.
Yeah, I would imagine some sort of rotation. You also have Truman Bodenhausen, who's played second base for them this year. He went off in his last game. So a lot of infield talent this Mustang's going to have to sort through. Probably going to be a lot of rotating just to get everyone some playing time. But overall, this Mustangs team now improves to 6-0 to maintain at first place in the Mink League. They're tied with the Crop Dusters in Des Moines. But the Mustangs 6-0, the Crop Dusters 4-0. But overall, a very good start to the season. You really couldn't have asked for a better season, a better start to the season.
And outside of the away game where they came back in the 9th inning, a lot of these games have been pretty stress-free. Jump out to an early lead and hold on to it. I mean, today, it felt like the A's were always knocking on the door, but it was never opened. And that's all you really want. A 7-3 game, kind of close, but they did a great job of handling, taking care of business.
Yeah, a great game, to start to finish. The Mustangs are going to take it. I'm Charlie Marshall alongside Tyler Bermundo. We hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. The Mustangs come out on top tonight, improved to 6-0. They win with the final score being 7-3 in just 8 innings due to a rain postponement.